hot take. Watermelon's terrible.
That's stupid. Well, I'm like actually peeved about that because like it's just refreshing. It's water, summer, good times.
That's the problem. I just want water. I don't want
none of that melon in my
Yeah.
water.
Have you ever had frozen watermelon?
like slushy, like icy.
Well, no, just like chunks of watermelon frozen and then put in the freezer.
What?
I don't know that I have.
It's like a delicious ice cube, a sweet ice cube.
I don't like flavored water either. So maybe that's why.
I don't think watermelon's flavored water, but
It's like, to me, it's not much different than celery.
I freaking
Wow.
love celery.
I don't like celery.
What?
What up, guys? This is episode 46 of Three Losers in a Church podcast. Today I want to talk about a time that somebody in our lives showed us God's love, whatever that might look like to one of us. God's love is obviously hard to encapsulate or summarize, which is why there are about 66 books in our Bible trying to do that. And so I thought it might be cool to kind of reflect on some times in our lives that somebody outside of our like immediate family, because I feel like that's an easy choice for somebody like me, kind of showed us some form of that. So 1 John 4:19 tells us that we love because God loved us first. So we should be compelled to like love people in almost like in a rational way, or like irrational is not exactly the word I'm looking for, but like it seems kind of stupid to the world, like the way we're supposed to love people who totally don't deserve it, you know. But because God loved us while we were viewed as enemies of him. So a lot of the time people's first encounter with God is when like a Christian or even a non-Christian showed them some kind of like selfless, undeserved love. So I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that. Like what's a time in your life that somebody kind of treated you in a way where you're like, that was really selfless, and like they were behaving in a way that was really loving.
I like your use of the word irrational.
Thank you. I was questioning using irrational.
I do. I mean, it's like that brings up the idea of like the other turning the other cheek to me, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Not the exact same idea, but similar mentality. So I approve. Tyler Page stamp of approval.
I'm not going to zoom in on that. Wait, so irrational love though. So in your note you wrote just church leadership ... What does that mean?
Okay, well you're calling me out here. There was kind of a story there, but I don't really have much of a specific story, as if it's kind of more like I really value like small conversations, right? And that's when I feel the most I don't know what the word is. I get the most love. There's a word there, I can't think of it, but like just in small conversations, in stories, and I love complaining to like an unhealthy extreme. It's like my passion. And as both of you know,
Spiritual gift.
It's my spiritual gift.
Spiritual
I'm irrational at complaining. But so like I was reminded of this time that like there was a church leader who I like was notoriously known. We would just complain to each other for hours and hours and hours on end. And I was just reminded of like, oh, like he would always kind of like try to be helpful as well and kind of give some advice and, you know, was pragmatic and stuff like that. But it was just always like so refreshing to like go to that conversation without an agenda. And like, it was just like, oh, like this is dumb. This is terrible. Right. And it was of course like, okay, like how do we solve that? What do we do? Like kind of, you know, accomplishing those goals. And so like, just, that was the first thing that came to my mind was like, even though it's like super small, like it's not something that I think like it wasn't some big moment where somebody, you know, like saved me by jumping off a train or something. Right? There was no like risk of personal injury on either parties. I just think it was like a level of like, there was no agenda. It was like being vulnerable about their issues with the church or people or life, right? It was just like a very...
I think it's humanizing.
Yeah.
Right.
And especially with church leadership too. Like it's like, I was on staff at the point when I was thinking of a particular story. But so like, it was kind of like, oh, like I was pretty new. I was like, what, 18, 19? Like, not like that was that long ago, but it was still like, the watch tells the ears.
It does, actually.
But yeah, so like it wasn't like this super big moment, right? It was just like church leadership is sometimes daunting, as you were saying. And I think that like just being humanizing that relationship was super crucial. And yeah, I mean, I think that's probably, and of course there's other moments in life, but that was the first one that came to my mind, was that like a lot of times I feel like sometimes church leadership is it like afraid to be like super vulnerable and like be like, oh, actually, like I do have some problem with that, and like that's difficult for me, and like, but also like to push back and be like, no, like I chose that, and that's the reason why I did that. And I don't know, that just to me was meant a lot. Yeah,
Right.
that's all I got for church leadership. Dot dot dot.
There's a lot in those dots.
There's a lot. There's a
There's a
lot.
lot.
in those dots.
No, I totally get that. I think that's a really good example. Because, like you said, it's not always this big valiant feat.
Mm.
Like sometimes it's just validating. Can
Yeah.
be more on the thing.
Yeah, it's a fantastic way to describe that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think similarly for me, it's like being kind of similar, like being given a chance when I know that there's somebody else more qualified
Mhm.
or could do things in a different way than me. Like when I talk about I got accepted to UMass as a clarinet major, and I found out later on that I'm not good at all.
All right.
My professor straight up told me, he's like, yeah, you played your audition piece in the wrong key, and you didn't sound very good at all, actually. Yeah, I played
Did you
the
not transpose it?
well, it's originally written for the A clarinet.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
own an A clarinet, so I played it on a B flat clarinet.
And
And
this
so,
was your audition to get in.
to get into college, yeah. And this is like the most famous piece that every clarinetist has to know, and I
That's
played
so
it in the wrong
funny.
key. Yeah.
I mean,
and-
it's sad. I apologize that I'm laughing, but that is hysterical.
oh, it's wicked funny, yeah. But like, just the fact that he told me, he's like, I saw like potential in you, and that phrase meant a lot to me. Like he took a chance on me, knowing like he could have accepted many other students who were
Yeah.
already better at the clarinet, who knew what they were doing, probably knew what key the piece was supposed to be.
Owned an A clarinet.
Yeah, had money to buy an A clarinet, things like that. Just being given a chance, and he wasn't a Christian or anything. And then there are multiple examples I can think of, but another one I thought of is when I was doing prison ministry. I was talking to these guys, and like half of them are in there for murder and like violent crimes, and I was introducing myself, and I was like, I don't know what I really have to offer you guys. Like I've had a pretty easy life. I've
Mm.
never been incarcerated or in trouble with the law aside from some speeding tickets. You know, I have no experience with prison ministry. And like one of the guys said to me, he's like, "We need somebody like you."
Mhm.
And to me, that just meant a lot because it was kind of what you were saying, where it's validating.
Yeah.
And he's like, "We need somebody who hasn't made those mistakes." And there are definitely people who with more prison experience, either as a prisoner or like somebody ministering, but like just to be given that chance to be heard was like, I don't know. It's weird to hear it like that. An example about being loved came from a murderer, but that's the crazy thing about the gospel, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm both surprised and not.
Yeah.
It goes to show you, they too are human.
Yeah, and it was very humanizing to like shake hands with a guy who might have taken a life.
Yeah.
So you said earlier, it's like, oh, like something that's not in your immediate family. I was just like, schmucks, did I like not read that in the notes?
Oh, you can do that. That's,
Oh, okay,
That was for
well-
me because like I'm wicked close to my family, and it would have
Right.
been like, well, my parents love me. Like,
yeah.
I've said that a million times on the podcast.
I just find it
So-
funny because you're just like, oh, someone who's not your immediate family and nothing like any like a valiant deed or anything. I'm sitting here, I'm just like, I want to talk about my mom,
Oh no, please do.
but
You're good.
also what
That was
she
like
did-
a self-restraint.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Because I was gonna say what she did, I perceived at the time as a valiant deed. So as some of you guys know, my dad's a pastor and my mom loves Jesus a lot. And there was my dad. So this is also kind of controversial because like I don't know how people feel to this day about like what's the word, like not corporal punishment, but like when like kids get spanked or like hit.
Oh yeah,
There's a phrase for that.
I forget what it is.
Yeah, but that dicey, right? In this day and culture,
It was a different time.
it was a different time. Yes. So my parents, for me, they used to hit me with not like with a okay. Wow, that sounds bad. Don't clip that. So rewind a little bit. Whenever I did something wrong, my parents would punish me, right? And the way that they did it, they had this fly swatter that was from Asia. I still remember to this day. Like it's like a rubber handle. The actual like shaft of it was made up of this woven braided polyester, like really flexible material. And then there was a pleather hand shaped thing. So as you can tell, this is like super bougie for a fly swatter. When I was a little kid, I had like they had different color ones, so I pretend they were my lightsabers. So I run around the house like swinging these fly swatters. But anywho, not only did I use them as lightsabers, my parents used them as like the means of punishing me, either to hit me in the butt or the one I hated the most, hitting me in the hands. They were just like, "Oh, I'm gonna hit you in the hands like 1 or 2 or 3 times." As a little kid of the young age of 4 or 5, I'm horrified, right? It's like, I don't want that. It hurts. It's like you see it coming and you're just like, no! So as a little kid, when I was a single child, I used to piss off my dad just because I felt like it. I didn't have a younger sister to piss off at the time. And I remember there was one day I pissed off my dad really badly. And then he was like, I'm going to have to punish you. And mind you, so he grabbed the fly swatter. In Chinese, we call it the ai xing bang. Ai xing bang. So ai xing means I means love, xing means heart. So it literally meant like loving heart, like stick. So my parents were kind of creative in that sense. I'll be like, they're like, oh, like we love you, that's why we hit you, and I'm just like, But I remember I ran into my parents' room after my dad got pissed. He went to go find the ai xing bang because, like, I don't know, I think I hid it because I was a clever kid. Not clever enough because he did find it. So he's like, he has it. He's about to storm back in to hit me, and I hide under my parents' blankets because that's what I do. Because that's that's what I saw in the movies. I'm like, we're hiding the blankets under the covers. And my mom was just like, "What did you do?" And I don't remember what I did. I remember explaining to her, and she's like, "You know what? I'll take the punishment for you."
Ooh.
And I remember my mom, I was like hiding behind my mom, and my mom put her hands out. And then my dad was just like, well, at the time, my dad was just like, oh, I'll play along with this. So he was like, my mom was just like, put her hands out, and she's like, I'll take the punishment for you. And then my dad was just like, what's her? And of course, like, he's not going to hit his wife like that hard. So, like, for me, it was just like, oh, why'd you do that, Mom? But yeah, that was like, thinking back, I'm just like, that was very loving. It still sticks to me to this day.
Dude, I'm getting a little choked up. That was good.
Parenting at its finest? I don't know. They just ripped off of each other for that one.
That's all of parenting is ripping.
Right, that's true.
As the three of us,
As
great parents.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a terrible idea. Let's not. Who trust us?
We don't have kids, just to clarify.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's literally what Jesus did. It's like, let me take that punishment for you.
Right? Yeah.
Wow. That's super cool. That, like, I don't know, that caught me off guard.
Oh.
I guess I didn't read your script notes very well.
Oh my goodness.
Script notes?
Script notes.
Script notes. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good to just. Did you realize at the time that was loving, I guess?
Yeah. No.
No.
Hold on, I'm like 4 years old. So actually, it's funny that you're like, oh, that's what Jesus did, right? My parents were just like, my mom was just like, I remember I was like, Mom, like, why are you doing this? And my mom's like, I'm doing this because this is what Jesus did, right? So of course my parents are like, ha 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 ha, like showing God's love in this instance. But for me, I'm just like, oh, okay, thank you. But the reason why I'm talking about it is because, yeah, it still sticks with me. I think, like, as I grew older, like, that moment always stuck out to me because it was just bizarre, right? My mom, well, again, for me, it was just, like, the most horrifying thing, right? Getting hit by this ai xing bang fly swatter. But for my mom, she was just like, oh, I'll take the hit for you. And I'm just like, why would you do that? That is an awful thing to be done to you, and yet you were willing to do that. But, yeah, the fact, I mean, they also just blatantly said, like, we do this because Jesus did it for us. Stuck with me. But I think looking back, I'm just like, it was selfless, right? Even for, like, a little kid, it's just like, he was horrified of this. He hid under the covers. He was just like, I don't want to get hit. And yet, his mother, of all people, who had nothing to do with this, was just like, I'll take it for you. So, I think reflecting down the road, I was just like, wow, that was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I appreciated it because I was an adult when both of those happened.
Oh,
And I was like, yeah, I appreciate that. That's nice of you. But not like looking back on it, I didn't realize just how much of an impact that it made on me, I guess.
Right.
Of being like, oh, wow, somebody really took a chance on me.
And I think small things as well you don't necessarily notice. I mean, like, when I had a conversation, I was like, yeah. that was good to rant, but I didn't think it was going to be like, something I would even remember.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's weird what sticks out in your mind
Yeah.
when you look back to like, why do I remember that moment?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. No, it's weird. Yeah. No, I think that's a great point. Yeah. I don't have anything to say.
That was weird.
That was
was
also
weird.
weird.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good though to just look back on these kind of things, and God is working even when you don't see it or notice it in the moment. And I think a lot of it's kind of sobering and frustrating because a lot of times you can't realize it or don't realize it until you look back. So I don't know. Maybe we should just make more time to look back and think about all the times we were shown love by people, even if they didn't realize it. Maybe these people we're talking about didn't even realize that what they were doing.
Oh, my
Right.
parents definitely knew what they were doing.
That's like it's like textbook.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think in our cases. I mean, maybe they did. I don't know.
Right.
But like, I mean, the world may never know. But I don't think that to them they probably don't remember,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, I don't know your clarinet professor, but
Right.
I'd assume he's seen a lot of students. I don't know if it's a man.
Oh,
They've
yeah.
seen a lot of students, so like they might not remember that, but for you that was a pinnacle moment. And
Right.
like my immediate response is like, oh, but like I'm important. Why don't they remember me? But also like it's weird to think that like something that's important to you. I know this is empathy 101, but something that's important to you is not necessarily important to somebody else.
Yeah.
And so like that's like kind of difficult to like wrap my mind around. Like
Especially when he's lived at that point 3 times longer than I've
Right.
been alive and has seen some stuff, So he, like you said, he probably didn't even remember.
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's part of our compulsion, I think, we should do that for other people, since we can always come up with examples of people doing that for us. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should say something else, but
No, I think we're good. I think that was good. That was a good out.
That scared me.
that was good. I don't know.
Am I good?
Yeah, go ahead.
Make sure to check out some of our other videos. They are great. I might be biased, but watch them anyways. Make sure to also check in the description below this video. Use the little scroll to go down there, and you will see all our links. Make sure to check out the end notes for this episode. Also, please follow us on social media. Let us know what's up. Tell us hi. Make fun of us. We don't mind. All right, thanks for watching. I guess we'll see you later.